So, about 2 months ago, me and a friend were cruising, looking for a place to smoke and chill, and you know how that goes. So we came across these old springs, which is now a state forest, middle of nowhere. It's late and dark. We walk down a trail, stop at a pond and start to mess around, and we start hearing this bloody curdly scream. I've never heard anything like it before. At first, I thought it was an angry animal, but the more it made noise, the more I realized I had no idea what the hell it was. It really scared me for a second. I tried shining my light in the direction of the sound, but there was a pond separating us from the woods that the sound was coming from. Maybe that was a good thing. So, it did this screaming for some seconds. Then it would stop. This on and off happened for like 5 to 10 minutes. We leave. We weren't there that long at all. And I was so confused but never thought anything of it. Was just more concerned about my friend I was with. But later that night, when I was dozing off to sleep, I heard that screaming in my head, and it jolted me awake. So, I began looking up different animals and all the types of noises that there are. Nothing matched. I still couldn't find anything that matches it. Then I learned of these skinwalker type things. I'm like, okay, I believe anything is possible anymore. I know my dad and mom's side both have close native blood. Mom has Cherokee, and dad has Chippewa. Okay, I'm sorry to bore you with this, but this is where it gets weird. Today, my mom just brought this up. Spring State Park Forest. I've never told anyone about this experience, and how her boyfriend went there, and how he found a very nice arrowhead there. Didn't think much of it. So I'm falling asleep, and all of a sudden it clicks. I go online and search. Native Americans settled there and got water from the springs. I can't find much info about it like this ever. I've posted about this before, but I've never had an experience quite like this. I've had people sending me animal sounds and all sorts of stuff, but I can't find anything that matches it. We don't have cougars or mountain lions out here, and all we have is deer, bunnies, geese, and ducks and cows. This scream that I'm hearing is not human, and it's loud enough that it's not coming from any known animal that I can tell you. So I really don't know what to think or say at this point. I'm a long-haul truck driver, so I'm no stranger to the States, and I've seen things that I can't quite explain, but this is by far the weirdest thing to ever happen to me. So, I was driving through Arizona, heading westbound on I-40, and I'd finally hit Flagstaff and got out at a truck stop and handled my business. As I left from Flagstaff, I ran by mile marker 185. It's about 10 miles from Flagstaff. As I passed mile marker 185, there was what seemed to be a person hitchhiking. The only problem was that this guy was huge, like 8 feet tall, looking straight into the passenger window of my semi-truck. On top of that, it seemed to be as wide as the truck from shoulder to shoulder. I passed the hitchhiker at 70 miles an hour, or so I thought. About half a mile down the road, I saw the exact same person or thing, and once I passed it, but once again. This kept happening, even 20 miles down the road to mile marker 165. I saw it every few miles, and after I passed mile marker 165, I didn't see it anymore, so I thought I was done with it. But I was dead wrong. I got down to mile marker 145 and had to take a leak, so I pulled over on the side of the road to handle my business. I was about halfway done when I heard an ear-piercing scream mix between what sounded like a deer and a human. And as soon as I heard it, I started looking around, and just outside the halo of my headlights, I saw it. I was never more confused and scared in my life. I tried to figure out what it was when I heard something flying through the air. Suddenly, I heard a thump, and sitting 3 feet away from me was a huge rock the size of a basketball. It had to have been at least 80 pounds. When I saw that, I pretty much noped out of there. That thing threw it at me, and it landed 3 feet away. I wasted no time trying to hop back in the truck and get away from whatever that thing was. As I passed it, it just stared me down, and I never saw it again. Can somebody please tell me what I saw? I'm a 17-year-old male in Texas, a little northeast of San Antonio. Now, from what I've heard, however, they don't hunt in my region. I don't know if this is false about skinwalkers. If somebody knows otherwise, please say so. A brief description of what I saw in my first encounter was a pale or light peach-colored humanoid that was about 4 feet tall. Its face lacked a mouth, had snake-like slits for nostrils. Its eyes were the most startling though. They weren't eyes per se, but more like an absence of light, like bottomless pits of existence. The further you looked into them, they were like an abyss of light that didn't let anything out. On my second encounter, my friends and I were on a traditional hobo night. Now, a hobo night was an occasional Friday night that our friend group would spend walking around, talking, and sleeping on the streets. Yeah, I know this sounds dumb, though it humbles oneself and makes you appreciate what you have. For legality's sake, I'll leave out the rest. This particular night, we were staying in a wooded area. My entire body tensed up with fear and adrenaline after hearing heavy footsteps near us. I'm not one to be scared easily due to a really messed up childhood, but that is a story all to itself. Anyway, I was shaking. It was hunting that night because it got really close and did not make a lot of noise. My group had 3 guys and a girl. Now, for personal sake, I don't want to say names. It was enough to wake us though. We all ended up leaving. When we were almost to the main road, me and the girl who was there saw a similar looking creature run across the field on 2 legs, back into the forest at a blinding speed. Not a minute later, and we heard an animal scream. The noise didn't sound right, almost like it was ran through a distortion program that was naturally created. What can I do for protection? My best friend whom I moved in with has told me that he's had multiple instances of hearing a creature that's made the same noise. He called it nerve-wracking, like a distorted bird call, maybe a high-pitched distorted bark, but it's always the same noise. He knew it was watching him from 8 yards away. He couldn't see it ever. The only reason I know he isn't lying is because he heard it tonight. My girlfriend heard it too. Whatever it is, it either hunts in packs or can travel fast and silent because we heard the same noise from multiple angles. An update for you. My stepmom has even heard it. My best friend's little brother has heard it, and he's 15. My little brother's best friend has heard it. We live on top of a cave, and I didn't think to mention until now. The entrance has, from what I've heard, never been found. I saw it again last night. I was kissing my girlfriend goodnight and goodbye. I heard this sound right behind me. It sounded just like a body hitting the ground. I immediately got hairs that stood up on my back. I told her to go, that the faster the better. When I turned a shoulder, I sat for maybe half a second, though the realization hit me hard. Its skin seemed to reflect on the light, while its eyes absorbed almost all of it. Anyway, this is the last update. After my girlfriend and I did some research, we came across a few articles. Fox-like spirits that are the embodiment of intelligence. They can be anywhere from malevolent to benevolent. Originally, I felt scared, almost like I was being hunted. One of my other friends is a Wiccan. I know creatures like this demand respect. She recommended I left out milk as a sign of peace. Talking to the creatures directly rather than following a traditional ritual. Anyhow, I have no idea if this is a real thing, or if this is the fox creature that I'm running into, or if this is actually a skinwalker. Any advice is welcome, because I have no idea what I'm dealing with here. All I know is that this feels like pure evil.